It's Wednesday, 6 p.m. every single week. I love to get on my channel here and go live and help people just like you, whether you already live here or you're looking to make the move to Utah. That's my goal. And to be honest, I want to kind of start out by sharing a lot of gratitude because we have been just completely blessed with so many people just like you that are watching these videos here on YouTube and reaching out to us. And we are so blessed to be part of your lives, to help give you that direction, to make sure that you find the next new home for you. Whether you already live here or you're making the move here, it's no different. But we honestly, truly love what we do, and we have such a passion for it. It is something we're incredibly grateful for. So thank you. And things are kind of changing here in Utah. And today I've got a few stories that I really want to dive into and share that I felt like this week were really jumping out to me. And these are things that are happening in Utah right now that I think are relevant. And just as I always do, I think these live videos are best for sharing the things that people really want to know about here in the state of Utah each and every week. So whether you watch this video live or you're watching the replay, it's no different. Drop a comment below. Let me know what your questions are. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm here to answer those questions. And if I don't answer your question during the live version of the video, I will answer them in future videos. So again, I love your questions. I love responding to any questions you guys might have and things that you want me to talk about and cover. This live video format is the best format to do that. And I think that, just in general in Utah, so many things are happening, whether it be in Salt Lake City or Provo or Ogden or Park City or St. George. There's always stuff to know and understand so that when you do make that move, you know you're going to the right place. And, today we're going to cover a few things. We're going to cover where our pro sports team is going to, have their new facility in Sandy, just south of Salt Lake City in the Utah Jazz. We're also going to talk about a surf style resort in Southern Utah. And we're going to talk about a really big pain point for a lot of people that really came to realization this week in people talking about, really big proposed tax increases in terms of property taxes. So we're going to cover all those three things. I'm going to share my opinions as well. And let's first start off with what's happening just south of Salt Lake City. This news broke this week, and I wanted to share this one first. So let me share my screen with you really quick. And we're going to start off by hopping over here to Google. So the Utah Jazz announced that they're going to put their new practice facility right here down in Sandy, just south of downtown Salt Lake City, and south of their current practice facility and headquarters up in downtown Salt Lake City. So if you come down here to Sandy, there's this mall. It's just a shopping mall. And this was bought out a little over a year ago, I believe, by the Smith Entertainment Group. And it's right off of I-15, as you can see. It's perfectly located for easy, on and off. And you don't have to have a lot of traffic through the neighborhoods. And it's a great spot because the roads are wide. There's plenty of ways to get in and out of the area. It's just so much better than the places close to downtown Salt Lake City that are maybe a little bit more of an afterthought. But I think it's a great location. In fact, if you look here, I've got this little map. This outlines the property itself that the Smith Entertainment Group purchased. And just to give you a little bit of backstory, Ryan Smith is the owner of the Smith Entertainment Group, and he's a local billionaire. He started a company called Qualtrics, and he bought the Utah Jazz, I believe, about 6 years ago from the Larry H. Miller Group of companies. And that transaction was huge. And I personally didn't see that coming because I always thought that the Millers were going to hold on to the Jazz forever. And I never really even considered them actually selling it. So when Ryan Smith bought it, I was really kind of thinking to myself, really, why is it that they're buying this team? And here they are just, 5 or 6 years later. Not only did they buy the Utah Jazz, but they also were successful in bringing an NHL hockey team here. And when they purchased this property in Sandy in the Southtown Mall, they purchased this area to not only make as the headquarters for the Smith Entertainment Group, but also the practice facilities and headquarters for the Utah Mammoth, the new NHL hockey team. And now, as it's announced this past week, the new center, the practice facility for the Utah Jazz as well. And I think that's pretty cool to see that there's a connection between the area, the suburbs into the city, in terms of not everything has to be in downtown Salt Lake City, because not everybody wants to be in downtown all the time. And I think this particular location lends itself incredibly well. Here's a photo or a rendering of the outside of the property. And it's kind of funny because you can see the mammoth practice facility here to my left. And it doesn't show the vast majority of that building, with the new Jazz practice facility here. And this little plaza in between with the logos of both the Utah Jazz and the Utah Mammoth. So this is going to be a great spot for this because it's a really easy place to get in and out of along I-15. It's going to be easy for the players. It's going to be easy for the staff and anybody who works for the Smith Entertainment Group. It's great. It's a phenomenal location. It's not going to impact real estate or places where people live. It's not going to impact residential neighborhoods for the most part. So it's really, in my opinion, probably one of the best possible locations. And in the recent decade, we've seen a lot of people repurposing older buildings. And we've seen shopping malls particularly being repurposed for other uses, especially for entertainment. This is one of those prime examples. And this is one of those places that's going to transform over the next decade as this massive property continues to get built out and changed. And they even had the entire team out for ceremonial, sticking the shovel in the ground kind of thing to break ground. So it's kind of cool that they're building this down in Sandy. I think the players are going to enjoy this better because the area that the other practice facility is in is a rougher area, and this is a very nice area. So I think it's going to be a really good spot where not only they can come, but also media and especially fans, because there's a lot of engagement here with our pro sports teams and the fans. And I think this lends itself really well to kind of bring in the cohesiveness behind what the Smith Entertainment Group is trying to do in building a sports empire here in Utah. And they're not finished yet. They have more things on the horizon that they want to do. So I thought that was kind of cool and worth sharing. The next story that I really wanted to talk about is in Southern Utah. So let me pull this up. Let's see here. So the next story that I really wanted to share. Here we go. One of these days, I'm going to get really proficient at this. So, as you can read the article, Surf's Up in the Desert inside Southern Utah's $25 million human-made paradise. So, this is one of those developments down just east of St. George in Southern Utah. And it's one of those places where a lot of people, push back a lot in terms of water because, it's a desert and water is a scarce resource out here in the West, especially in Utah. And it's always a topic of conversation. So if we come back to Google Maps here and shoot all the way down to Southern Utah, in the southwestern corner lies the metropolitan area of St. George. You can see that here. And St. George is thriving and growing. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's that resort style living that's just like nowhere else. It's amazing. We have a new resort over here called Black Desert Resort. And this is the venue for Utah's one and only PGA Tour event on this particular golf course. But the beauty here is unmatched. It's absolutely gorgeous down here in Southern Utah. And just to put into perspective, this community that was announced that we're talking about is directly east of St. George. So if I come over here to the east of St. George, you see this area around this reservoir that's called Sand Hollow. And you see just north of it, the city of Hurricane, which locals call it Hurricane. There's a reason for that. And despite the fact that even as a local Utahn, I really struggle calling it Hurricane. I've been corrected by calling it, when I do call it Hurricane, I am corrected quite frequently. But the reason for it is the settlers that came through here in the 1800s, they spoke English in a different way, as European settlers often do, and they pronounced it Hurricane. And so it just kind of stuck, and it's always stuck, and it will always be that way. So whether you call it Hurricane or Hurricane, this is a really thriving area with tons of subdivisions popping up, including golf courses and all of these things along the Virgin River. This place is really booming, and it's going to continue to boom for many, many years. But this particular community in Southern Utah is really going to thrive. It's going to be one of those places where it's going to attract a lot of luxury homes. You can see here, there's actually 3 lakes in total. And just to kind of put this into perspective, it's actually got 3 lakes. The main boat lake is 500 feet wide and 2,400 feet long, which is enough room for water skiing and wakeboarding. A second lake, which is 100 feet by 700 feet, is reserved for surfing, swimming, and paddleboarding, and the third lake is a stunt lake, identical to size in its surfing counterpart. And it has cables that tow wakeboarders over rails, ramps, and other obstacles. This is pretty cool. A lot of people are going to want to buy and live in this area that's called Southern Shores because this is a way of life. And in Utah, what drives real estate more than anything is lifestyle. People buy real estate here because of lifestyle. So as you can see here, you can see the vision for this, including all of this open land. And as you scroll down and you look at these photos, this is kind of what we can expect. We're going to see some luxury properties right along the water. We're going to see people out playing on the lake. We're going to see a lot of fun activities and a community that you don't really get to experience in many places in the country. So I think that's pretty cool. The biggest pushback that we get from this, in fact, what I personally think is the biggest pushback that we're going to see, and a lot of people will definitely comment. How do I work this? Let me figure this out. Sorry, guys. I think there's going to be a lot of pushback on water, and water is always a big topic of conversation here. So the question is, how are we using this water? Are we using it wisely? Do we need to find more water? Do we need to build out more infrastructure around how we get water to these areas that are growing so quickly? And the answers are yes. We need to conserve. We need to be vigilant. We need to be mindful that we can't waste water as we usually do here in the state of Utah. A lot of things need to change in order for Utah to continue growing with respect to water. So it's a valid debate and conversation when it comes to water, especially in southern Utah. Being the thick of the desert, it's more crucial there than just about anywhere. And so Sand Hollow Reservoir is not big enough to sustain the future growth of the region. That's what it really boils down to. In fact, let me just go back here and share this screen one more time. And if we look back at Google Maps, we have this reservoir here in Sand Hollow. It is not big enough to sustain all of the future growth that will be coming. But there are talks of another reservoir being built down here, just on the southern tip of Utah, just above the Arizona border. This is a location where I could see another reservoir being built. I think it's probably going to happen at some point. The question is when. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I think it's very likely that it could happen somewhere in this region. And pulling water from the mountains that come to the east of here, to the east. There's enough snow in these mountains up to the north and to the east that if they capture that, they can capture that in reservoirs to sustain life here for many, many decades. And I think, we just need more of it. So you've got Quail Creek up here to the north, and you have Sand Hollow down here to the south, but there's still a lot more water that's going to be needed in order to build out this infrastructure. All right. Let me go back here to my screen. The third topic, the fun one today that we really want to talk about. This broke, and I took screenshots of what was happening because this to me is a big deal, and I want to talk about it with people just like you, but I want conversation. I want your thoughts as well. If you have a strong opinion, I'm going to share my opinion, and I want to see what you guys think as well. But what happened this week is a proposal in Salt Lake County by the Salt Lake County mayor to raise property taxes by 20%. Now, a near 20% increase in property taxes sounds absolutely ludicrous at face value. I agree. I think it's ludicrous. And the justification from the county mayor is that they haven't raised property taxes for years, and now because of inflation, they have to now raise property taxes just to keep up because they're not going to be able to stay ahead of their budgets and their expenditures. I just think that's complete hogwash, personally, because when you look at the data and you look at how much of an increase they've already experienced just in the last 5 years, not in property tax hikes, but in increased values in real estate. So their argument is that they need to increase property tax rates because of inflation. But here's the thing they're not taking into account that I don't think we're too stupid to realize. And I promise you, I and many, many others, thousands of other people are going to voice this opinion. They've already gotten their raise. They've seen a 44% increase in revenue from property taxes because houses have shot up in value. And so inflation is a moot point. It doesn't make any sense to use that as an argument to raise our property taxes. I personally believe very strongly that they need to do a better job to be efficient with the dollars that they do get. And Utah's a great place for so many people, not only to stay here, but people that are moving here. And property taxes is one of those things. It's one of those reasons why Utah is such a great and attractive place to live. So many people that make the move here come from states like California or Texas or Florida, where the property taxes are incredibly high and they're relieved to know how incredibly low they are here in Utah. Now, that's not to say that Utah doesn't get you with taxes in other areas, because we certainly do. But that's not it. Salt Lake County is just one proposed tax hike. The other one is to our neighboring county to the north in Davis County, which is just north of Salt Lake County. They are proposing a 30% property tax rate increase. And I got to be honest, I think that's absolutely ludicrous. They've already gotten their raises through the appreciation in real estate. And so the inflation that they're using as their argument makes absolutely no sense to me. So I love to get involved with these meetings and these town halls and things where we can really voice our opinions. This is something I'm pretty passionate about. I think it's absolutely ludicrous to use that as a justification to raise property taxes that much, especially as we've seen our house prices shoot up. And because of that, they're getting more tax revenue as a basis of the fact that our real estate has increased in value so much. So for me personally, I think it makes no sense. Property taxes, to me, in Utah are very attractive for so many people looking to move here and stay here. We need to keep it that way. So if you do live here in Utah, I would highly encourage you to really get involved, stay involved, because these are the things that we have to push back on. And luckily in Utah, people are more vocal than other places, in my opinion. I think Utah is one of those really wonderful places where we are more likely to fight for these things and things that really truly matter to us and our pocketbook, because we're not going to just put up with this kind of stuff coming into play. Now, regardless of what political side of the aisle you lean towards, I think it's fair to say that Utah is one of the best states in the country, objectively speaking, for a reason. And the biggest reason for that is we actually don't let stuff like this happen. So I don't actually believe this will end up happening. I think it's going to be a much, much smaller version of these numbers, which is more, it's easier to bite, to chew that off, I think. But there's so many other issues as well. And while we're on this topic of what the government does and how they play into our lives here in the state of Utah, Utah is one of the best run states in the entire country. I feel blessed to live here, but that doesn't mean we don't have room for improvement. And one of the things that's really at the top of my mind is, what can we do as a state to promote, to help, to facilitate the building of more real estate in a sustainable way and with smaller homes? We don't need bigger homes. We build far too many big luxury homes and McMansions. We don't build enough starter homes. So it's top of mind for me because these last 2 weeks, I've helped 3 families under the age of 25 buy their first homes, 3 couples. It's been absolutely extraordinarily fun to do so, because so many people in that age bracket feel like it's impossible to live the American dream and buy a home, especially in their 20s. But yet I'm seeing people actually pull it off. Now, the way that we're actually able to do that is because of how incredibly attractive the deals are with new construction properties. And even then, these homes are still bigger than these families need. They're much bigger than these couples need. But there's some really attractive deals that's making it more attractive for people, especially in their 20s or 30s, just anybody buying their first home, to actually get their foot in and get into a home. This comes in the way of a lot of incentives and credits and concessions that we can use and leverage to buy down the interest rate, to pull that monthly payment down, to pay for closing costs. There are even loan programs, and there are programs here in the state of Utah where you can actually get funds for that down payment. So there's all sorts of different avenues. So if you're young, or if you're in your 40s or 50s, it doesn't matter. If you're looking to buy your first home, reach out to us, because we have some really great resources to help get you into that first home, because that's what you need to do to ride that next wave in appreciation as Utah just takes off again when the economy kind of signals that. So that's really cool. I think overall, though, Utah is one of those places where the demand to live here is not going to be tempered much. especially with the Olympics coming back here in 2034, which is the very reason that Utah kind of took off in terms of its growth outside of, the natural growth that we see within the state in our natural population increase. So the 2002 Winter Olympics were the catalyst that really boosted Utah's position and that's why Utah became so attractive in the first place. And it's only going to take it to the next level when those games come back in 2034. The Olympics are hosted in Salt Lake City, but the venues are all over from Park City to Salt Lake City and up north in Snow Basin. There's a lot of venues within about 30 to 45 minutes of downtown Salt Lake City that are going to bring millions and millions of people that want to live here because they fall in love with this place once they come. So as I've helped so many people this last week or two, as they've reached out to me here from my YouTube channel, I've had a lot of really good conversations with people that are making the move here. And if that's you, please reach out to us. We're here to help you and guide you. We have all the resources that you might need. And my team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice as always. You can find my contact information in the description of every video, including this one, or you can book a video call with us in the link that you'll find on the pinned comment on my videos as well. But regardless, my team and I are here to help you. Please reach out. We love serving people just like you. In fact, if you're looking to make the move here, regardless of whether it's 3 months or 6 months or 12 months down the road, reach out, let's get in touch, and let's get you set up so that you actually know where you want to end up when you get here. So with that said, that's this week's video. If you have any questions, drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear your opinions on these topics that I'm sharing as well. Or if there are future topics that really cross your mind, bring them up. I've had other people bring up things like public transportation and the expansion of the light rail system here, or trains in general, and how that's going to play into things. I've also had people reach out about the rental markets here and what's going to happen with the Point development and other developments like it that are greatly going to increase the supply of rental units. So whatever it is that you're looking for, reach out, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts. And until next video, thanks guys.